Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my biosyn sanctuary slash, well, not sanctuary, more of a university. In today's episode, we're going to be building a secret old abandoned mine. As you'll see, I'm just going to be upgrading some stuff here, and, well, continue. Now, in this build, I'm just beginning to make the terraforming and everything like that. So what I imagined for this build is a abandoned mine, and like I've said in the previous episode or video, that this is like they chose this area like why they chose Biosyn Valley, because it was a previous mine, and you'll see I'll be trying to do this type of mine where it goes down, background also, and yeah. For me, the challenge is trying to make it look realistic enough, so I used the sand brush, and as you can see, I am struggling because I'm not used to building something like this. And for future tips, probably do something much bigger. I just chose this area as a dedicated space, and also make it more realistic because I really didn't make it that realistic here. So this is the first one, and for now I'm just gonna be adding details with the rocks and everything to show some texture and some elevation. Like adding rocks at the sides, sand is just your normal ground, and adding the rock terrain. I think this will work with tropical. It's just with the sand terrain there, it's not going to work that much, and the dirt is also not going to work the best because the dirt isn't really that visible. And also adding sand for some texture, and you could have added more rocks. I'm not really that obsessed with the rocks in this game. It's better, the hitbox and that stuff is definitely better than the first game. So yeah, just adding more rocks and details, but you can really go obscene in that stuff. But typically, every time I look at a mine and pictures of it, I don't see a lot of rocks. This is just imagine if concrete or something like, or maybe there's amber in the inside. You never know. For me, one tip is you make one big rock, two small rocks, medium sized, and then small rocks around it. It's a more realistic vibe. Also, what I used for like the materials and cars, that stuff, I use the excavators, or what do we call it? Yeah, I think it's excavators. The game doesn't really have a lot of cars and vehicles. I don't want to place like a whole empty Ranger Jeep station in the middle of nowhere. So I use this, and it really looks like a mine. It's giving a lot of that idea. Also adding some lights, because it needs some lights, this place. For me, I think you probably need some other. If this third game is probably going to have more variety of stuff, and here I'm just trying to make like a workers' barack, or whatever you call it, or a workers' station, and adding some old stuff like the Malta DLC. You're going to see me using a lot here, because it's a lot of abandoned vibes, old vibes, and that stuff. Now here's also the tents for like the smaller people. The previous one was like more of offices and that stuff. It's just tents. For me, this was really hard because I didn't have a plan. As you saw in the previous video, plans and we did not work that out that good. Just adding some storage and that stuff for extra details, or else everything's gonna look the same. Here I'm gonna be building the second type of mining area. This one's gonna be maybe a bit better because the previous one I didn't have experience, and this one I have a bit more experience, if you can say. And it's much bigger, and I'm going to try to make it a bit deeper than the previous one, because the previous one wasn't that deep. And if I could change it, I would actually put more foliage, because it's been abandoned, let's say 10 years, so foliage would probably by that time grow everywhere. And obviously you need a place to put the sand and everything, so that's what I'm trying to do here. And you can see me experimenting with different type of paints. You don't really have a variety here, so it's very hard. So I just chose a normal sand because it is sand meanwhile. So yeah, And for me, I think you should make a bit, like you could add path around it. I just did it in the middle of nowhere because I can say in the story they were very rushy about this stuff and just trying to make it quick as possible because it is an amber mine. Or it could be a black market because in the next episode I'm going to show a black market, so it could be also a legal mine in that stuff. So yeah, just adding some details here in the edges just to make it more in depth. Can I say that? Yeah. Again, I really think you could have done maybe a bit more detailing here, especially more foliage. And yeah, now I'm adding sand everywhere because it's not, you don't typically see much grass in a mine, especially. And I'm also adding a bit more storage because I don't think that was enough. So one big pile and then one medium and then yeah, just add some different variation there and some edging there. I'm just adding some cranes to imagine like they're dropping off the sand and stuff. And if you're asking why did they leave it and that stuff, let's just say so it's been running 10 years maybe, and 10 years ago in this game, so this game is 2012, no 2022, so 10 years ago it was 2000, no, yeah, 2012 and everything like that, and this was more of a engines, secret mining area facility and that stuff, and then they stopped because they didn't need it anymore. And I really still have to think about role playing here because I really want to begin like a role play series, but as you can see, I'm struggling a lot. So yeah, and now I'm just adding some rocks again. You could have added a lot more. Here I was a bit too lazy. And for me, a tip is when you're using the cranes to make a mine, add this type of rock and rotate it so it looks as if they're carrying actually the rocks. Because then, it looks like the cranes are actually doing something and not just standing there. But obviously, for time, the rocks would have fell down, and I think I should have done that a bit. So yeah. And I'm just adding the last bit of details, like a couple of more cranes. And that middle pile is like where I imagine the last pieces where they haven't got everything. You could see I will be adding some amber stuff and everything like that. Well, this is the shortest build I've done yet, so let's take inventory of what I've done with a brief park tour.